The Supreme Court allows mifepristone to be sent through the mail for now. We'll get to all the deets of this decision and tell you the new lows Thomas and Alito have sunk to.
And that's on the heels of Marty Makary's ousting at the FDA. Some are saying it's because he wouldn't allow kids to kill themselves with tutti frutti flavored vapes, and others say he wasn't banning abortion pills fast enough. Who's to know?
We say, why not both? And who's going to take his place? Why, of course, Don Jr.'s turkey hunting buddy. Yikes.
Yikes, big yikes. Also, Dr. Oz says American women are underbabied, and that's all part of this administration's new breeder initiative called moms.gov. And we have some thoughts.
Many.
You can't really keep us from our thoughts.
This is a whole mess. But we do have some fun. I mean, here's the question we answer with our guest. How does a 6'4" Black queer immigrant comedian handle hecklers? Well, Solomon Georgio is the only comic I know that can answer that question, and he's joining us.
And he's great. All this coming up in this episode of the Feminist Buzzkills podcast, the show that would most definitely hire a goat detective.
I'm so excited for Goat Detective.
Are you excited for Goat Detective?
Everyone's raving about Goat Detective.
You're talking about the movie with what's his name?
Hugh Jackman, and also Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and the guy from Breaking Bad.
Cranston?
Yes.
And some goats.
And some goats.
I'm Moji Alamodia, and I am joined by my co-host, Liz Winstead. Hi, Liz.
And Goat Herder, apparently. All of that stuff is coming up. And of course, we're going to kick it off with what happened at SCOTUS. So, in a tiny victory for temporary good feels, I mean, the Supreme Court in a 7-2 ruling allowed mifepristone to remain available by mail for now.
The decision means that while this case weaves its way through the court system, access to pills by mail will still be available in 50 states.
Next steps are the case returns to the Fifth Circuit for full litigation, and however they rule, guarantee this, it is going to end up at SCOTUS for a real hearing.
Oh, hell yeah. And we know at least 2 justices will vote when that happens, as this decision was about 2 pages of announcing their ruling and David Foster Wallace-length dissents from Thomas and Alito.
Holy shit.
We're not surprised.
No, it was like Gravity's Rainbow, this fucking long-ass thing. Alito goes off claiming shield laws are literally a scheme. He actually wrote the word scheme, and they violate Louisiana law banning abortion. Ignoring the fact, and this is what drives me nuts, ignoring the fact that by overturning Roe, as he so gleefully did, and leaving abortion to the states, that also means states that choose to provide abortion can provide abortion.
And Thomas prattled on about how mailing pills violates the Comstock Act, an 1873 law that happens to still be on the books. It bans mailing abortion-y anything through the mail.
And Thomas took it one step further, saying that because of Comstock, the manufacturers of the abortion pill deserve nothing because according to that fucking ancient law, they are, and he used this phrase, a criminal enterprise.
Oh my gosh. Imagine being Clarence Thomas and citing a law from the 1870s as where America should be headed. Imagine that. Good Lord. The fuck?
I mean, I don't understand Clarence Thomas and how he thinks he has ascended into his position of power if it was not for tearing down all of the racist laws that wouldn't have allowed him to be where he is otherwise.
I want to remind you that when tearing down Roe, he also said maybe we should look at interracial marriage, and he happens to be in interracial marriage. So I don't know if he knows how any of this works.
My theory about that is he would be for ending interracial marriage because Ginny Thomas is so scary. He's terrified to ask her for a divorce. And the only way to get out of that marriage would be to declare it unconstitutional. But I digress.
Listen, I believe it. I believe it. So as this all develops, we'll keep you updated here and on the AAF socials and in our newsletters, of course.
But in the meantime, we have been expecting this. We have told you about this coming. We have been following this case, and we haven't been sitting on our asses. We have actually been developing an action that you all can take with us with some incredible partners. And we're going to tell you and launch it now so that you can participate with us.
We know that in addition to this case winding its way through Louisiana, the FDA is right now reviewing a junk science debunk study that they will use to decide the fate of Miffy. And not whether just to mail it, but whether they'll revoke all approvals and yank it off the market so no one can have it.
Right. And so what we've decided to do, we are owning the power that we have. So AAF is partnering with many repro organizations and collecting medication abortion stories from folks who have used mifepristone during the past 26 years that it's been on the market. And if you are comfortable being able to share your story, we are asking you, please do so.
You can anonymously submit your story in a simple form we've created at mifestories.com. Our goal is to combat the misinformation and the fake studies that the FDA is using to decide the fate of mifepristone. And to do that, we want to use real-life experiences from people who have actually had medication abortions.
That's right. They cannot negate your experience and what you've had. And so what we want to do is we want to collect as many stories as we can and deliver these stories to the FDA to counter their lies with truth and to tell the real story of how safe, effective, and life-changing medication abortion truly is.
You can head over to mifestories.com and submit your story. It does not require your email, and we won't collect any of your data, so your privacy is fully protected.
So if you can, and if you feel comfortable, knowing that we are going to assure your privacy, please, please, please submit your stories. It's going to be crucial to have real data to combat the fake shit. And all of this, Moji, ties into the chaos at the FDA as we talk about the FDA using this fake study. You know, one of the biggest stories this week is that Marty Makary, who's the head of the FDA, has been ousted out of the job and going to be replaced with a total douchebag.
Yeah.
It's wild because I think, this dude came in, I think the right wing and the anti-abortion folks really thought he was going to be their hero. He had some past comments and some past sort of MAHA adjacent, anti-abortion adjacent feelings. And he, when they confirmed him, he said, well, I'm not going to do anything with medication abortion unless a study shows up. And then when a study showed up, he promised that he would be using it to see if they were going to check out the efficacy and the approval process the FDA used to put medication abortion on the market. But he was too slow for these fuckers, man, and they are mad.
They are mad. Also, I think, he was a real doctor. And so he was like, tobacco products marketed to kids, which is what a fruit-flavored vape would be, maybe isn't a good idea. I don't want to do this. And Trump was like, what are you talking about? Who's going to pay our bills? I got tobacco, big tobacco, breathing down my throat.
I know. I was like, had we had more time, I would have done more research, which I'm sure others have done, into how much money Trump is making off of big vape, because I don't know, but I think it's probably a lot. So it does seem like the vape, not approving the Cool Ranch vape or what a Bubblicious vape or whatever the fuck it was, that he was like, yeah, not maybe, and then just not abortion, got him thrown out onto the bus. And, he was in the middle of taking his time reviewing something that has had wild studies on it. And I think it was inching towards him throwing this study under the bus for the junk science that it was, and they needed to quickly get rid of him and get some kind of interim person in there who might actually do his bidding on that abortion front, and I guess get the vapes passed too.
You know who's excited about this? Josh Hawley. He's so happy Macary's out. No one's happier than Josh Hawley.
It's true, and that's when it's really scary. All the anti-abortion people are like, thank God, get rid of that guy. I mean, he's only been in for a hot minute. I mean, I remember the announcement, I think 8 months? It hasn't been a year, I don't think. Has it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
No, because I feel like he got in and then all we ever talked about with that guy was him looking at whether or not medication abortion was going to stay on the market based on this terrible, terrible debunked study. And it's currently happening. So he's gone, and the acting FDA head will be taking his place, who is
Kyle Diamantis. See, the problem with this administration is that they, like you're like, oh, a terrible person's out. And then a new strange entity walks in. And this one is Kyle Diamantis, who is, I don't know, only the acting director. So maybe they don't expect he'll be awful enough. The search is on. But one of his highest credentials is that he's Don Jr.'s hunting buddy.
Turkey hunting buddy. There's a famous photo of him and Don Jr. And I remember Rolling Stone did an article about him and just talked about him being not only Donald Trump's hunting buddy, but his turkey hunting buddy. And there's a photo of the two of them just holding dead birds. And like, I'm from Minnesota, so I can deal with hunting for animals and eating them and stuff. But like just watching those two, I mean, the dude's not a doctor.
No. Or a scientist.
No, he oversees our food. His biggest claim to fame so far at the FDA was that he's the dude that approved the upside down food pyramid. So he's like the meat sweats guy.
Oh my God, he is totally a meat sweats guy.
He's the meat sweats guy. But how he ever got into this job is so gross because of his like defending awful corporate terrible people before he
like defended, he's a lawyer, right? And he's a lawyer in Florida, and he defended this formula company that was fighting a case that their product had harmed preterm children, preemies. And it did. And they lost because it did.
And not only did they lose, they appealed it and they lost again. And his client had to pay $445 million out in damages to the people whose babies had suffered because of their tainted formula. I mean, like, what in the fucking Nestle in the 1970s Bhopal shit is this?
It's exactly that. And what's crazy is in his new role, in the role he's been in, he approves what? Baby formulas.
Yeah.
It's not good, Bob.
It's not good, Bob. It's not great, Bob. What's the phrase? It's not
great, Bob. It's not good, Bob. It's not
great,
great.
Bob. Yeah,
Okay,
I think it's not great, Bob.
Okay,
Not
yeah.
great, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be watching how that plays out because how Kyle is going to handle what's coming down the pike, this study that's happening in the wake of the Supreme Court ruling. We have a lot on our hands right now, but we're on top of it. AAF is always on top of it. But anyway, we have so many stories to get to. But before we do, we're just going to take just a little bit of a minute to basically shake you down like a mob boss for money.
And it's exactly what we're doing. And it's important because if you aren't already a Patreon member, honestly, get on that. We don't have to show up at your house the day of your daughter's wedding and ask for cash. We can just do it on this pod, which makes more sense and is safer for you.
It's safer for all of us, seriously, because we can't say it enough, and we kind of offhandedly say it, but if you donate to our Patreon, you'll get a birthday shout out, and you'll get great content, you'll get cool merch, you'll get experiences, and
Absolutely.
all of the pledges go to our pod and to all of our activism at Abortion Access Front. So pledge at patreon.com/feministbuzzkills, or we're going to show up on the day of your daughter's wedding. I should put some gauze in my cheeks.
Some things in your cheeks.
You had to come on the day of my daughter's wedding. Would you tell them something that's actually going to erase their brain from my bad Godfather impression, that their hot dollars will actually go to something positive?
Yeah, we have an awesome event coming up in collaboration with Catholics for Choice. Join us May 27th, 6 p.m. Eastern for an Expose Fake Clinic's virtual action hour. It's really great. Our team will get you up to speed on how you can take action and warn your community about the lies spread by these centers.
That's right. And you're going to hear about how these centers are just ballooning into prominence in a hot minute with our big story that we're going to talk about. And also you're going to learn about Catholics for Choice, which is a really, really great organization. And that kind of gives you faith in faith. Yeah.
And you may not know this, but Feminist Buzzkills is just one of our Abortion Access Front programs. We also offer many other opportunities to get active, and one of our favorites is our mutual aid program called Adopt a Clinic.
That's right. Adopt a Clinic is an amazing way for the public to support independent clinics, abortion funds, clinic escort groups, and patients directly by ordering much-needed items from their wish lists. This week, we're showcasing New York City for abortion rights. This collective has an upcoming mutual aid event at the Aberdeen Street Community Garden, May 23rd. at 1 p.m. in New York City. They need condoms, pregnancy tests, pads, and more. Find the link for their wish list and for all the deets you need to know on their Instagram at NYC for abortion rights. And that link will also be in our show notes.
Okay, let's move on because there's lots we want to talk about. So let's continue with a quick steaming dump of this week's abortion news.
Oh, Lord. This week, Washington Senator Patty, I like to call her Peppermint Patty Murray, had EPA Secretary Lee Zeldin in the hot seat, grilling him about whether or not he was using EPA funding to indulge the crackpot conspiracies that there is abortion in our water. Listen to part of this exchange.
Do you seriously believe there's abortion in the water like some of the far-right activists are suggesting?
I have not. You just said abortion in the water?
That's what some far-right activists are saying, that they have an audience in the EPA on that absurd issue.
Yeah, I have not had a conversation with anyone at the agency as far as abortions in water.
And you're not actively pursuing it or don't have groups of...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Really, Lee? No idea? The anti-abortion movement, and specifically an organization called Students for Life, has been pushing this water shit for years. Obviously, our pod has covered it. They have legislation about it, and they lobby Congress about it all the time. What do you mean you don't know what she's talking about?
That is such a disingenuous... I'm sorry. Did you say abortion? Never heard of it. Never heard
abortion
of it.
where? In where? In water?
doesn't-
Never heard of water.
She doesn't go here. I don't know. I don't know what she's talking about. And here's the thing. If Lee Zeldin, if you've never heard of him before, he was the EPA secretary. He was in Congress and he had an A rating from the Susan B. Anthony list, which is like the anti-abortion lobbying group that sponsors and promotes and endorses anti-abortion candidates. And this guy has an A+ rating. Please, Lee, really?
And last year, when he took the job as head of EPA, Kristen Hawkins, the executive director of Students for Life, personally wrote him about the abortion water. So you can imagine after this denial, Hawkins is big mad at Lee.
So mad.
She scribbled this creepy clapback, and this is just, I'm just going to read a little bit of it. Quote, "Not only did I and Students for Life team members meet with EPA officials about the issues with more than 50 tons of chemically tainted blood and placenta tissue, along with human remains going into our waterways, but multiple letters from members of Congress have said the same thing." The fuck?
What kind of ghoul is walking around with 50 tons of tainted blood and placenta? This is reminiscent of those other ghouls who were stealing the fetuses and putting them in the coolers,
Yes.
and hiding them because they had some gotcha moment. Like, did they just trudge, I don't know, the East River here and just
Sure.
get all this shit up? I'm sure. I wonder if they were surprised about all the poop and the barf and the pee.
I want to know whose wastewater she's fishing in. Like, seriously, who is her dealer?
What a fucking ghoul. Honestly, what are you doing? It's so gross. Also, my favorite part is she finished her strongly worded, I got 50 tons of placenta letter saying, quote, "The Sergeant Schultz approach will not work with us. Ignorance of the issue is not an excuse." The Sergeant Schultz approach?
We don't know her either.
Look, if you run an organization called Students for Life and you're trying to like have students be excited that you're mad about something, a Hogan's Heroes reference,
Yeah, none of them. Nobody knows that. No, does.
not really relevant. Also, you shouldn't be 41 and running an organization called Students for Life. It's vaguely creepy.
Okay, but honestly, get your popcorn. The Regina George of abortion pills is in full revenge mode. Bitch is not going to stop.
Look out.
Also, there's more anti-abortion mean girl news this week. Jenny's Ice Cream in Columbus, Ohio held an ice cream social fundraiser for the Ohio Abortion Fund. And of course, a local mom whose name is Katie Rourg was not having it.
Poor Katie.
Not having it.
She is real mad.
Big mad. She immediately started a petition and got a whole 345 signatures. I mean, that's about as many people as live in my building. It's
Oh
like
my God.
nobody. And now people who would never go there will continue to not go there, all 345 of them.
You know, I feel like this is a good way to just kind of weed out who you want as your client base. You know, Jenny's and the Abortion Fund of Ohio have completely ignored Katie, ignored this petition. And I feel like good for you, Jenny's. And if you're going to ignore these assholes, we're going to uplift Jenny's, because if you're doing a fundraiser for the Abortion Fund of Ohio, you should go to Jenny's and you should buy Jenny's ice cream, because they are the jam.
Jenny's is your jam. You know what I would love, Liz? I would love a shirt that says, I scream, you scream, we all scream, abortion.
I would wear that shirt. I would wear the shit out of that shirt.
Fuck
That is so
yeah.
good. And, you know, finally, we have a story that is file under. We just had to tell you the story because it sounded fake to us.
It doesn't sound like a real thing, Liz.
No, it does not sound like a real thing. So just when you thought Florida couldn't be any worse, we found out they have something called a free kill law.
Yikes.
I know. It's so weird. It means that anyone over 25 without a spouse or minor children can't sue a hospital for medical negligence for any reason other than they're over 25, aren't married, and don't have minor children. What?
This is infuriating. And how do we know this? How do we find out about this? Oh, because a doctor on TikTok named Elizabeth Potter told the story of a Florida woman who died due to medical negligence. But because she was over 25, unmarried, had no children, the hospital could not be sued by her surviving family.
And here's what's gross. This free kill law has been on the books for 40 years, and legislators tried to repeal. They voted to repeal it.
Yeah, they sure did. Bipartisan.
Bipartisan, and DeSantis vetoed the repeal.
You know, Liz, there is so much wrong with this story. There's so much wrong with this law. But honestly, can we start with the name? Free kill? Do they not have a writer's room? Did no one workshop this? Free kill?
No one did. It really sounds like you arrest a woman and then strip her down and give her 20 minutes to run ahead of a firing squad. And then if they find, like, it's so freaking creepy. And you know what else is creepy about this, Moji? So it's kind of like if you're over 25 and you're not married and you don't have kids, you have no rights,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But if you're under 25 and you're fine. And I feel like this is adjacent to their abortion bans, right? Because if you just say under 25, you're totally protected, that gives you the right to keep fetuses in that creepy mix in your definition of under 25.
From conception to 25.
Yeah, I think that's it. Florida, where you have freedom till you're 25. Then
anything can happen and nobody cares.
it's true.
We're hoping this story will gain traction and will help pressure a repeal of this, let's say it again, free kill law. And also, speaking about this moves us to our big story of the week, and that is the announcement circus of the Trump administration's new initiative to rebrand anyone with a uterus as potting soil. That would be me, maybe. And you, maybe.
Us for sure. I might just be so over the hill they don't care.
I'm over 25, so they might not care either.
I think they're going to create some grandma prison for like dead uteruses where you're just in charge of other people's kids. So that's my job now or something. The whole thing is so weird. But anyway, so there was a whole series of unfortunate utterances that were coming out of the White House this week in a meeting that we all watched. Some of it went viral on the interwebs, some of it didn't, but all of it needs to get a shit ton of attention, right? Now, you've probably seen that comment. I mean, we were making fun of it on the Abortion Access Front socials. Everybody was making fun of it. And that's when Dr. Oz came out and made this inexplicable statement.
1 in 3 Americans are underbabied. What does underbabied mean? That means that you either don't have any children or you have less children than you would normally want to have.
I was completely flummoxed that underbabied was a thing. Although in this administration, this moving towards broodmare status it makes perfect sense.
Ideologically, it makes sense, but I'm sure it's not in Merriam-Webster. Underbabied isn't a thing.
It's not in Scrabble, for sure.
And it's not in spelling bee. I don't think underbabied is a word.
No, underbabied is made up. And like, you know, I don't even know what the fuck, even in his phrasing of you only have one kid or you don't have the amount of kids you want, leaves no room for I don't want them at all.
It leaves none. And it also doesn't leave room for one kid. Maybe you just want one. Maybe you're fine with one.
Turns out maybe that's you, Moji.
Yeah, it might be.
And don't want any would be me.
You. And all of that is valid.
Yeah.
Except for we're doing bad as potting soil.
I know. It's really a mess. And so, you know, that was the big hit from this meeting. And then RFK had to weigh in. You know, RFK every 6 months has to weigh in with the update on like sperm count news. He's breaking sperm count news. This was it this week.
The fertility crisis for women began in 2007. For men in 1970, men had twice the sperm count as our teenagers do today.
That's a man I think should never talk. He sounds terrible. And also a man whose sperm count I definitely don't want to think about ever.
Also, yeah, I don't like hearing from a man who sounds like he's gargling sperm count, which is while he's talking, which is a bummer. But yeah, he's always asserting his own virality is a constant with this guy, right? The sperm count of men now is, older men is higher than younger men. And he is constantly just overcompensate, just age, dude. When you talk about looks maxing, I feel like he's doing some weird form of it with like the chugging of the milk and the working out without his shirt and the
ice bath and the jeans.
Yeah, all of it. It's just super, the weird tan. Like the whole thing is fucking weird.
I also think that this talk of like old men having higher sperm count is a way to make us feel comfortable with old men having sex with young girls. That's generally what I think. And that's another part of the ick for me.
Also, if that's the case, then, we should really be looking into Viagra, the efficacy of Viagra, because, just a little reminder here, PSA, Viagra went to the market faster than any other drug in the history of the FDA. So as they are looking at abortion pills in their 25 years of being steadily researched, Viagra was literally like 30 minutes. It's like, hey, I'll watch an episode of Veep and then we'll make the
Viagra approvals.
Same amount of time, just FYI. But the grossest thing of this little meeting was when Trump decided to weigh in. That's always the icing on the shit cake.
Always.
First time I really heard about the fertility was through Katie. She said, "Sir, we have to do something." And I'm a quick study, so I learned everything there is to learn in about 3 or 4 minutes. And I became the father of fertility.
Quick study? Okay.
I never heard of fertility till I started talking to Katie.
Took me 2 minutes to get up to speed, though, and then I was the father of fertility.
And let's be clear that the Katie he is referring to is Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife. So Donald Trump having a conversation with Stephen Miller's wife about fertility. If you're not barfing in your mouth already, now's the time to start.
I've already barfed in my mouth and cleaned it out, and we can continue this conversation because gross.
Also, referring to yourself as the father of fertility gives just really creepy vibes of like eventually we're just all going to have to like bow to the Trump and he inseminates the world. And I don't know, who's the god of fertility?
Nick Cannon. Or Dionysus. I don't know. It's usually women, honestly. Like, I don't know.
Going with Nick Cannon. I feel like that is the correct answer. So that part was a circus. And the circus of it all is all of this was this gathering. It's ridiculous. And we like to laugh at the funny sound bites. But the truth is they were gathered because what they were doing in the Oval Office was announcing this new anti-abortion, pro-natalist government program called moms.gov that centers fake clinics with the same legitimacy as federally qualified health centers, which gives them all of this cred, like they're really places you can go that are going to service you in your pregnancy journey. Then they don't. We know that.
They absolutely don't. And I hate to sound like a stickler for this, but again, with the creepy name.
Oh my God.
Moms.gov?
It sounds like they were, moms were created in like in some kind of lab.
Yeah.
In, I don't know.
And you can pick one up on the website.
Yeah, moms.gov.
The only mom you want.
It was made by your government.
Yes.
It just sounds like we're making it sounds very Stepford.
Yes, manufacturing moms.
It does. And so these clowns in the Oval Office making their statements and having Trump refer to Katie Miller and all this shit is bad enough, right? But there was a second meeting that is not getting enough attention. And after this announcement, there was a roundtable discussion with a who's who of horribleness. Katie Miller
Yuck.
was part of the roundtable. Riley Gaines,
Yuck.
famous terrible swimmer and anti-trans activist, and a bunch of other anti-abortion luminaries. And we're going to link to this roundtable. And if you find the time and you want to watch it, I think it's important because it really does say the quiet part out loud about what moms.gov actually is. But if you don't want to watch it, Moji and I are going to walk you through it because, in my humble opinion, this whole launch and this whole moms.gov thing, Moji, was a love letter to the anti-abortion movement because they're so pissed
Yep.
about the fact that this big plan they had for the FDA to take this fake study and use it to get rid of medication abortion was taking too long. So I feel like they had to scramble to pull this shit together.
This is literally a bone to the pro-life and pro-family advocates. And that's literally what they said. An administration spokesperson described it as the program that pro-life and pro-family advocates have sought for many, many years. And I believe them.
Yeah, it's true. And on this roundtable, Riley Gaines was like, moms.gov expresses what it really means to be pro-life. I'm like, what does that bitch know about anybody's life but her own? She is the most selfish human being I've ever heard in my life. Jesus Christ, you're not that good of a swimmer. Quit blaming everybody, especially trans people, bitch. Stop.
Also, why is it our fault that you're a terrible swimmer? Like, swim out of my face. Your man RFK called it a home run for both the MAHA movement and the pro-life movement. So basically, all these people who hate each other are coming together and saying, we're on the same side.
Yeah, exactly. And for a mom government website to be so focused on the anti-abortion agenda is really scary. And the scariest part of this
is terrifying,
which isn't being reported anywhere, is that Natalie Dodson, who is a name you don't know, but what she said the initiative really marries the pro-life asks we have had for so many years. Now, Natalie Dodson is a name you need to know because she worked at a place called the Ethics and Public Policy Center, who are the authors of this fake study we keep referring to that the FDA is currently scouring to try to use to remove all of the approvals of medication abortion. So as we sit in this moment and this mom.gov website launches and this program launches, one of the people who is guiding all of the conversation for the Department of Health and Human Services is the person who was at the organization that authored this fucking study. That had me shook. I'm not going to lie.
This doesn't sound like a conflict of interest at all, Liz.
No, it's really fucking not at all. Just get the people who wrote the study to do the things for the government. It's all fine.
Yeah. So it's a circle jerk and we'll get where we want to get. Liz, let's talk about what's on the website for a minute, because honestly, you go through it and it's really disturbing.
Yeah. So, big headline, top of the page, it says, moms.gov is addressing the needs of mothers and fathers who face difficult or unexpected pregnancies, ensuring the well-being of mothers and health of American families. So, do you think it really does that, Moji?
No, it absolutely doesn't do that. It absolutely doesn't. Honestly, the addressing needs of mothers and fathers who face difficult or unexpected pregnancies is essentially a government platform for those things you see on the subway that say pregnant need help.
It's totally true. There's so many links that lead to affiliates of Heartbeat International, which is the largest consortium of fake clinics. So it's driving people to places that do not provide healthcare. So much of it, of course, for people who are thinking about parenting and health, they're guiding you away from hormonal birth control and into the trap of fertility awareness shit.
Which is, a thing people can use, but it's not the best way to not get pregnant.
That's exactly right.
It also doesn't acknowledge Black maternal health at all. It doesn't. Like, it's a real problem that exists in this country. And it's just sort of like moms that aren't Black. And you can tell by the pictures, it's all white women.
Yeah, it's DEIUD. That's what that shit is right there. We're not having that, you know? And so it's basically a resource for tradwifery.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many Christian nationalists adjacent kind of like family planning places and group settings you can go to. And really just having it on a .gov URL gives it so much legitimacy. And I'm really scared, you know, when it says Moji that it gives like nutrition advice and breast, you know, feeding advice and all this other shit. It's like, but I don't trust them.
No, I don't
for
trust them.
nutrition. If you take vitamin K out of the recommended protocols for newborns, if you're taking away measles vaccinations on this massive website now that is government sanctioned, that's just telling people a whole bunch of scary shit, I'm terrified for this website.
It's also a place that allows them to talk out of both sides of their mouth, right? It says like, oh, here's breastfeeding support for like moms in difficult situations, but you can't breastfeed if you don't have social support.
Right.
If you have to go back to work, you cannot breastfeed your child. It's just not possible.
The whole thing feels so scary, and it's under this umbrella of we're going to take care of you, under the shadow of how our next steps are around controlling our lives and our fertility, because none of this, of course, helps anybody make full decisions for themselves and their families when it comes to legitimate birth control, abortion options, helping people who are in crisis in their pregnancies. None of that shit is here, and it is
Actual prenatal care is not there.
actual prenatal care is not there. And even like as we talk about the fate of mifepristone and the fate of misoprostol, two drugs that are actually also helpful in keeping people not get sepsis, helping people evacuate their uteruses after miscarriage, helping people with so much stuff. You know, it's this fake promise of somebody who has a perfect pregnancy and a perfect life and a support system that is oftentimes imaginary. Fuck these people.
Fuck these people. It's not helpful. It's really disturbing. And it's gaslighting. It is gaslighting from our federal government.
Totally. And we'll be following this story about this because it just launched. And we're going to be following how they implement it because it's super important for us to be calling out this bullshit, especially to, if you know, people who are vulnerable new moms or vulnerable people who are trying to get pregnant or looking for help, don't want to be pregnant. This is not the place for them to go. And I feel like they're going to just have an all hands thing on it. So anyway, these stories that we talked about, every single one of them, the links will be in our show notes. And if you are somebody who's looking for abortion care and you need the most up-to-the-minute resources on either accessing care or you need some funding for your care, hit up our friends at abortionfinder.org.
We do this show because this kind of information is not given enough attention in the media. And you can help us spread the word, and you can show us some love by liking, subscribing, and giving us a 5-star rating. Every single bit helps us reach more listeners and help us help more people.
That's right. And which is what we need more than ever right now. Okay, a little fun?
Yeah, let's do some fun.
Okay, it's everybody's favorite. Well, I don't know, but it's our favorite. It's the party game. That's faster than Monopoly, more fun than Taboo. It's 6 Degrees of Abortion. This is when Moji takes a story from the news, and I have 6 chances to link it to abortion. I don't know. I feel scared. I'm not doing well in this game lately.
Liz, you may or may not know, but the FIFA World Cup is upon us.
Yes, I did know that.
Are you aware of what that is? Okay. We're baby stepping through this.
Yeah, because they gave Donald Trump the Nobel Prize, FIFA.
Yes, they sure enough did. They sure enough did. The FIFA prize, the FIFA Peace Prize.
Look, the FIFA, can we just talk, before you even tell me this, please put in the show notes a picture of the FIFA prize that they gave Trump, because it literally looks like if the White Walker's hands emerged from the bowels of the earth and were holding up some replica of a destroyed universe, and then they handed it to him. So I don't know if they were punking Trump, but it was crazy.
They were blowing smoke up his butt, Liz. It's very obvious.
Also, anybody giving Trump a peace prize, come on.
Peace where? Peace who?
Yeah.
He doesn't know her.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, FIFA.
The FIFA World Cup is coming to America. New York is going to be one of the places where it's going to be hosting some games and stuff. And our beloved mayor helped roll out this program that has all of these cultural passport, like a cultural passport. So people who are coming to visit the US can go around the city and visit places and get these stamps, and it can just be part of their reminder of their trip to New York and wherever else they go for the FIFA World Cup stuff. It's going to roll out in New York.
Continues to be the best mayor ever.
Well, it's New York, it's Chicago, it's Philadelphia, it's Boston, and apparently it's Albuquerque. So this is great. And this is wonderful and this is fantastic. And I wanted to link it to Mamdani because we love him, but way too easy for you. So I'm asking you to link abortion to Lincoln Center.
I can't believe you did this for me,
actually,
Moji.
as I said it, I fully fucking remembered 2 years ago. Do it anyway.
I mean, it's a humble brag. I did a show at Lincoln Center 2 years ago where I talked extensively about abortion. So that seems like a crazy, crazy thing. But yeah, so I performed at Lincoln Center 2 years ago.
I was there.
You were there. And so I'm just going to say, and you were with me. That's the part that I was like, did she really just say?
I was with you and I was with somebody who's been a guest on this show. So yikes, Moji. Of all of the cultural institutions, that was the stupidest choice.
I'm going to go with me to Lincoln Center to me for the win. You know, it's been a long week, Moj, so I understand. Sometimes you're scraping.
Literally forgot until I said the words and I was like, God damn it, Moji.
I mean, at least it was fun.
It was.
At least it was fun.
It was a great show too.
It was a really fun show to be performing. I was actually, truth be told, performing in the parking lot of Lincoln Center. They did these shows called the Lincoln Center parking lot shows. And so they were really fun and really good comics were there.
Also, the parking lot is under the famous fountain. So it wasn't like you were even miles away. We were still very much in the footprint of Lincoln Center.
Fair. I'm in the bowels of Lincoln Center. It counts. It counts. On both fronts. Should we move on to our fantastic guest?
Oh my gosh. Yes, please.
Oh my God. Speaking of somebody who I think is so tall, he could barely be in the parking garage of Lincoln Center to do a show. He is an incredible comic and TV writer for shows like Survival of the Thickest, Shrill, and High Maintenance. And he is the best rage follow on the internet. We're so glad he's here. Please welcome Solomon Georgio. Hey, Solomon.
Hi, Solomon.
Hello. It's good to be here.
We are so glad you are here, especially on the heels of what everyone has been blabbing about in comedy. And we were like, oh, wait a minute. We have on our podcast this week a Black gay immigrant comedian, and we have to get your thoughts about the Kevin Hart roast.
I'm sure a lot of offensive things happened in it, but it was 3 hours long, so I didn't watch it.
Hell yeah.
I thought that was the most offensive thing to do to somebody. Nothing comedy-wise should ever go longer than 2 hours. I truly, I think you are testing the patience of human beings.
It was 100% uninspired. I like a good roast, and I've used the format to raise money for stuff. And like just shit that seems like intentionally not even funny, but just like when I say this, people are going to be mad about it. They're not going to laugh about it. They're not going to feel anything. They're just going to, it felt like rage bait.
I feel like that's kind of what the streaming services did, is like making everything sort of like clickbait. And I'm like, for me, as a comedian, I've been doing it so long, I'm listening to jokes, I'm like, these are just fine. Like, and none of them knew each other that well to go for a thing to actually be like funny and kind of like be true. Like, it's just people that didn't generally like each other making fun of each other, which is just boring. Like, I want friends who are really great writers who hang out with each other, go up and make fun of each other, because that's what a roast is, not just a group of people who like got rich and now are just poking fun of each other.
You know, it's interesting because similar to you, Solomon, I did not watch it. Also, you can't even get me to watch 3 hours of like Christopher Nolan. You definitely are not going to get me to watch 3 hours of like Shane Gillis and Tony Hinchcliffe, men who I actually don't engage with their comedy. And I'm like, oh, you mean these guys who like are known for doing racist stuff up there doing racist stuff to a short Black man? Cool. Hey, I'm sorry. Anything that starts with lynching Kevin Hart is a wild start in my opinion. But like, apparently they fill stadiums. Like, like, what the hell? Like, if this is the shill that is passing for comedy, like, I don't know what gives you the fearlessness to do what you do, right? Your kind of comedy, which is a lot better crafted than that.
I like comedy. I don't care for any aspect of what comedy can like. These guys are like, I don't think they're comedians anymore. They're just sort of like cultural lightning rods, and I don't like. They're not doing it for the fun of comedy. They're saying they are, but they're not, because the fun of comedy is just the pursuit of a fun joke. Like, it is not trying to be a part of this. Like, yes, there's being part of this culture. Like, I like making my points the way, like, from what I believe, but like that belief, like, it's like it doesn't get altered by the audience. Like, I just walk into a space being like, this is what I believe. I do not care if the audience will agree with it or not.
It's tricky because I remember when I started stand up 150 years ago, I remember thinking, no one's asked me to be here. And then also remembering that there's people that hate babies and chocolate. And so not everyone's going to like you anyway. So then I just leaned really into the promise is I've crafted things I believe in. I can't promise you're going to like them, but I promise I didn't come on stage with the intention of wasting your time.
I want to entertain, but I want to entertain from the scope of what I think is funny and what I want to be presented as.
Yeah, you're entitled to your point of view. That's the point.
Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah, no, I feel like we just now are in this realm of where people are more concerned about who they are and how they appeal to, especially in the manosphere comedy world, where I'm like, you're more of a snake oil salesman than you are a comedian. So I'm not really concerned. Like, I guess in my head now, I've kind of separated them from what I consider to be comedy, because it's just rage bait. It's just them trying to get people upset, rile them up. And for me, it's like, it is a part of comedy, like, to build that tension, but there's no release, there's no jokes. None of their fans can quote a single joke of theirs.
Right.
Like, no one's walking around telling their bits and like in a format that you're like, that you hear them on the street. Like, growing up, you'd hear the jokes of all the greats left and right on the street.
Eddie Murphy would drop a special or a movie, and then people would just be reenacting it for 3 years. For 3 years, like the same touch points you'd just hear and you'd see.
I got some ice cream. I think that was like years of my life singing that song as a child. And that is not happening in any way, shape, or form. So I'm like, I'd rather have somebody walk away with a joke of mine that they remember and will quote back to me because they enjoyed it, instead of having a group of people who is like are riled up. And like, I'm like, that's more of a cult than it is.
I really feel the lack of release is a key point, because the clips, again, similarly, I did not watch the roast, but some of the clips, I'm just like, oh, you just sort of make a statement that is kind of offensive and that's it.
It's clapter.
Some of them weren't even getting clapter. It was just, okay, and you said it.
Yeah.
Oh no, because I started in the world of alt comedy, and like then a lot of queer people were coming up at the same time as me, and we got called out for like, oh, you guys are just saying what people want to hear, like this like PC clapter. I'm like, I assure you, that is what you're doing. That is all you're doing, is appealing to a group of people that agree with you, and all you're saying is a statement that they agree with, and they cheer.
That's exactly right. And the truth is, when they do shows, people are like, yeah, that's what I think. But when we do shows, people come up to me and say, I really needed that catharsis because you're speaking to the parts of the world that I also feel like I want to laugh at the hypocrites who are harming. I want, and that's a really different thing. The one thing that I would say is the reason that I even pay attention to a Shane Gillis or Tony or Joe Rogan or any of these manosphere people is because I feel like you can gauge a society by who the comedians that they celebrate, right?
Yeah.
And so if people had paid more attention to the rise of these manosphere comics, they would have understood that you can't say this isn't America. No, this is America. Like, you need to know these people are being celebrated in record numbers. So we need to know that they exist, just like we needed to know Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro and all those other fuckwads exist, because they're influencing people and not in our sphere at all, just like you said, Moji.
Well, they did a great job because they started in a realm, they showed up in the places where these people are not being heard and said the thing that they're thinking. And now they're able to build this like cultural like movement behind them. And like, I definitely want like-minded people in my audience, but I want to present them a thought in my format.
Yeah.
Like, I want to surprise them. I want to give them to think of something in a way they weren't thinking of it before. I don't want people to hear verbatim the terrible things they're thinking of.
Exactly. So Solomon, because these folks are kind of creating brands and schooling audiences, how many of the sort of fan base of these folks end up at your shows? Like if you're doing like a traditional comedy space, and what are they most triggered by, if they are, when you're on stage?
It's kind of sad because I definitely can tell you right now, a lot of us are losing a lot of audience members. And I think it's sort of a mix of it's their audience, but also people in general no longer looking out for like smaller shows because they think, oh, this is what comedy is. Therefore, I will not be able to find funny people who are clever and are not going to tell me horrific things on stage. But, like, I think that's the issue that we're dealing with right now, on top of the country also being on the verge of an insane economic recession.
Just that.
So, like, I rarely cross paths with them, and I feel like my audience has been dwindling over the last few years, and it's kind of a shame, but I think it's just sort of this slump that's happening right now. And like, I'm also 6'4", so I've also
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, just a tiny little man, just a tiny little man.
one thing about their audience, these macho men, is that they are non-confrontational when there's a bigger man in the room. So I've never had to deal with them very much because they will never ever talk to somebody that's bigger than them.
100%. The reason you have a pulpit and say this kind of bullshit is because you know that no one's going to check you.
I'm not small. I've also like I feel like if I was, but I think in general those kind of men will only go for smaller people.
They're bullies. It's typical bullies.
And usually women. I think that's the case. I think on average, whenever they're like, they're homophobic, but they're homophobic far away.
Also, they're homophobic in a boring way. Just like I feel like they're racist in a boring way. I don't know. I just feel like there's a way to like make it interesting and they don't. It's like lowest hanging fruit.
Like it's jokes from 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 80 years ago. You think there's no other format of all the things that happened to Black people in all these years?
We're all back to 1965.
Like you could have made a racist joke about something that happened yesterday at least, instead of
when you hear like Nancy Pelosi references or shit like, or ACLU references, you're like, you're not even targeting shit that's interesting. Years ago, there was a conservative comedian who was shitting all over the Democratic Party. And I agreed with everything he said because it was just about how Democrats are not fighting hard enough and how they were being lame and stuff like that. And I was like, that's good comedy where you're calling out your bullshit Republicans, but you're also calling out Democrats for them being bullshit. Like, I can get with you on certain things that are true about like people not fighting or being whatever, but like stretching, it's just can be garbage.
I think the issue will always be like, why are you trying to make the person that agrees with you laugh? Why can't you try to make the person that disagrees with you laugh? How am I going to say what I believe in to make this person that doesn't believe in it laugh? And if you can't do that, then that should be the goal. Is like, I don't want the easiest laugh. For me, it's like that's cake, that's candy, that's a treat that anybody can do. The goal should be like, I want to get the most difficult bit that I have to make people and get somebody that doesn't agree with me to enjoy it.
So, Solomon, I love your work. You've worked on some of the shows that I really, really love. And so we know why we booked you on the pod, right? You're smart, you're political, you're hilarious. Well, why did you agree to come to this abortion-ass podcast?
You can, first of all, the words feminist buzzkill, I'm already there. Nothing I enjoy more than any, like the one, it's one of my oldest tweets is that whenever somebody says a woman is difficult, that is, I mean, I need to hunt her down because I know this is something going to be honest with me. So no, this was an easy choice. This is my format of entertainment.
And so are the people in your circles talking about abortion? I mean, some of them I feel like overlap, but like, does it come up in your life often?
I feel like we talk about it in a way we're just upset, but we're lucky because we're in California that it's not a thing that we have to worry about. But obviously there's now deep concern, especially now that the pill is being...
Yes, under attack. It's being ping-ponged.
Such a weird thing to have to even continue to defend because it's like, nobody doesn't not want it.
Right.
Not even the people who say they're pro-life don't want it. I assure you if they're put in a position where they had to get one, they would immediately take the option. I think everyone is in this fake high horse of like moral superiority with their religion, which is like, it's just, you're anti-life, you're anti-human.
And that bears out. Let me tell you what, when we talk to the folks that we work with in the clinics on the ground, the amount of people that are protesting outside of those clinics that will go in for their secret appointments so that the men that they are outside with protesting don't know it's happening. And mistresses, and never mind the mistresses.
The mistresses, oh gosh. Also, I think a big hunk of my algorithm are people who maybe were formerly anti-abortion, and then they're like, my wife had a fetal anomaly. And that's when we realized that the abortion ban in Alabama is fucking up our life. And I'm like, it's terrible when you need to like have something slap you on the face to just develop a little bit of empathy.
It's a crazy world we live in.
It's really impressive when somebody who is under attack by a fascist regime for their multiple identities can still survive, thrive, bring humor to other people. I mean, the fact that you're on stage showing people that joy is happening is really incredible. Thank you.
I've been lucky my whole life. My parents are wonderful African immigrants who taught me that you can't wait to be happy. It's really, you can either be happy now or never. Regardless of what happens in this world, I'm not gonna let them take any of my joy away. So that's always one thing I'll have is my decision to be happy with my own life, and I'm gonna keep being persistent. I feel like it's kind of necessary, and it's at the end of the day, like I'm also just hopeful. Like I don't feel like I'm never gonna feel defeated anytime soon. Like especially to these guys, they suck. They're having their victory lap. I'm letting them enjoy it because they're gonna run into a wall just like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Like
I like when people describe it as an extinction burst, and I feel like that's when I get my hope, when I'm like, oh yeah. But I'm going to drag you into a not so dark, but terribly dark place. Liz and I have this check-in we do every once in a while. It's gross. It's an evolving game, and it's like going on pure looks. Like, you know nothing about their politics or anything. Who in this administration would you fuck? I'll go first. It might be Melania. Used to be Pete Hegseth. Is there anybody that you could hold your nose, pretend that they're not them, and then maybe,
jeez, it's a lot of white guys.
So many white
That's
guys.
the real problem.
Listen, Solomon, I identify as straight, and I just chose Melania. Like, because those guys.
It's really a who's if I don't want to.
Yeah. I mean, the whole caveat is
that's the game.
Never heard them speak. You might regret fucking them after when you watched the news and then found out all their bullshit. But is there anyone who's on their face hot enough?
You know what? I feel like I unfortunately think I dated someone that looked like Mike Johnson in the past. So
Oh, Mike Johnson.
Whoa, Lego Man. Oh, nice.
So yeah, I feel like I've definitely hooked up with a guy that looked like him, and he was for sure a power bottom.
Well, you know what's hilarious is when I was Googling who are the hottest administration people, he was on every list.
Really?
Yeah. I grew up in Minnesota, so Hegseth looks like every guy I fucked in high school. So he was like an easy choice for me, where it's like, oh yeah, you look like, Scandinavian popular guy that I probably had sex with. But I don't know that I could live if I woke up, looked on my phone, it was like, he did what? I think that guy was what?
Unfortunately, I've dated a lot of teachers, and one of them looked just like Mike Johnson. So that's...
Is teachers a thing for you? Like you like a good educator?
Well, I generally like anyone who's in like a helpful position. Like my current boyfriend is an assistant, and I think before that, I think every person I dated was a teacher for the most part.
That's amazing.
That's a cute type.
That is a cute type to have.
Well, it's also it's I don't think other gay men realize it, that there's a lot of just gay teachers, so there's an option to date them.
Moms for Liberty doesn't really realize that either. If they did, we'd be in trouble.
Solomon, it has been incredible talking to you. Can you tell people what you're up to? What are you doing? How do we support your work?
I actually just finished working on the 3rd and final season of Survival of the Thickest.
We love that show.
And we just announced that's going to be out on July 2nd. It's going to be the 3rd and final season. I love that show so much, and Michelle Buteau is a saint, and please watch it.
I know, we worship her. And where can people find out where you are doing stand-up? Where can they find you online? Where can they check your schedule, your calendar, your stuff?
I'm Solomon Georgio all across the board. SolomonGeorgio.com from OMOs. I'm the only Solomon Giorgio available in this current country. If there is another one, you are being scammed.
And it's such a beautiful name as well. I love it. It's just like flows so nicely.
It really does. You should be a chef. If you ever leave comedy, you could definitely become a chef.
Oh, I know. I probably would never. Oh, jeez. I'm addicted to this this beautiful craft.
I know. It is intoxicating. Well, you're really good at it, so I'm glad that you are addicted to it. And go see Solomon. Hilarious. Survival of the Thickest. We're going to put all this in our show notes. Thanks so much for popping by.
Thank you, Solomon. Oh my gosh, what a great conversation. Follow Solomon on Instagram at Solomon Georgio. And of course, you can go to his website, solomongeorgio.com. Links will be in our show notes.
Moji,
Yeah.
we did a show.
We did?
We dropped so much knowledge that I feel like I'm exhausted.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally exhausted because we made people smarter, and I think we definitely made people laugh today. And so I'd like to remind you to show us some love by liking, subscribing, and giving us a 5-star rating. And if you want to go the extra mile, and I'm sure you do, you can join our Patreon. You'll support great content, get cool FBK merch and experiences, and remember, all pledges support this pod and every single thing we do at Abortion Access Front. So just go pledge. Patreon.com/feministbuzzkills.
Plus, Abortion Access Front brings the news and information every day. So stay connected with us on social media at Abortion Front, across all platforms, even Blue Sky. Especially now, we need to be tracking our rights are in the balance every moment as the clock ticks. So stay with us. We got you. We got you. We got you.
We got you. And now that we got you informed, why don't we get you activated? You can check out our awesome Operation Save Abortion trainings at OperationSaveAbortion.com. Go there, get an abortion activist glow up, and learn about all of the ways abortion providers and patients need your help right now.
That's right. And while you're there, poke around. Our super cool activist calendar is full of local and national actions and educational opportunities, so you can dive right in. Again, that's OperationSaveAbortion.com.
And if you want even more ways to get involved, you can sign up to volunteer. Seriously, we need you. You can go to our website, aafront.org. You can fill out the volunteer form, and we can figure it out together.
That's right. And Moji and I will be here next week. We are going to be downloading about all the news, shit talking all the bad people, and sort of guiding you into the long weekend. So we can't wait to talk to you next week.
I can't wait for that long weekend.
Long weekend.
The Feminist Buzzkills podcast is edited and produced by Remy DeTournay and Jin Moon for Abortion Access Front.
And so we say bye-bye.
Ciao.
Feminist Buzzkills, the podcast from Abortion Access Front. New episodes drop Friday. When BS is poppin', we pop off. And if you want to support our podcast and all the work of Abortion Access Front, like, subscribe, and join our Patreon at patreon.com/feministbuzzkills.